I'm Sue.
And I'm Steve.
And we're Aging Joyfully. We made a conscious decision recently to live our life joyfully.
Joyfully, that's true. That means with a lot of joy and happy and overlook the downside.
And we've had a lot of downsides, haven't we?
We sure have, and we're going up that hill right now from the bottom, so it can only get better. And so we made a conscious decision
to live happily.
Happily, to be happy and live happy.
I mean, I've seen many stories and books and things that say you are happiest in your 60s.
That's right. That's right. You're all through your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, and now you're into your 60s.
Well, 20s, you're still getting through college, maybe looking for jobs.
Yeah.
30s, you're having your kids, raising your kids, paying those mortgage payments.
That's right.
40s, your parents may be sick and dying.
Yeah. Having to put up with all of that or deal with all that or get through all of that. And then by your 60s...
it's home free.
So you hope.
I mean, that's your turn for illnesses.
Right, but this is the time where you have to start making these tough decisions, thinking about end of life. And that is a tough decision for anyone, but something that's inevitable. And so you really have to think about it. I mean, you start to decline, and nobody really ever thinks about it while you're going. But when you get in your 60s, things start to happen. Your body starts to break down. If you're not exercising, eating right, then other things can happen in your body where you're going to seek medical attention, and you got to start thinking about end of life.
Well, it's not just your health. It could be a car accident or another.
Anything can happen.
And in America, school shootings, any shootings, accidents, anything. We've known people who've died from infancy up to their 70s. It wasn't always illness.
Right.
I mean, we had a good friend who died in a car accident in his 40s. My cousin died in infancy.
Right.
My other cousin died at 61 in his sleep. That was an illness. Total surprise. Steve lost his good childhood friend this year. That was shocking and sad. And then my sister told us her roommate had passed away recently at 63. That was another shocking one. Her ex-husband also died at 50. So we've had people die at all ages, and it's something that is never talked about in this culture. Other cultures do talk about it.
Right.
Know it's a part of life. Mm-hmm. And I know when I was in college, I had an elective to take one time. And my grandparents were all gone before I was born. So I never really went through death with older people, or, I was sheltered. So there was a class on death and dying under psychology or sociology, or probably psychology. And I signed up for it, and I told my mom, and she was not an aggressive, demanding person, demanded that I drop that class. And she said that was just morbid. And I mean, it was going to take you through what you would go through at the funeral, and from the burial to whatever. I knew nothing of dying because I didn't know anybody who died. And I wanted to know because it's going to be a part of life. At that time, I knew my parents would be dying one day, and I wanted to know what I would be going through. Well, she demanded I dropped it, and I did. And when she died, I was totally devastated. I had no idea what you go through, the planning. Even though she was sick and they planned her funeral, there were so many decisions to be made, and it was just devastating when she did pass away.
Right, and that's the toughest thing. When your parents pass away, it is the toughest, and you can never be fully prepared. And you never get over it, but you can work through it, and that's the best you can do. I don't believe that you ever get over it. I mean, my parents died long time ago, and I still think about it every once in a while. It'll pop up in my head.
your dad was only 59 when he passed away. You were still a young teenager.
Right.
So that was very shocking. And I know when I met his mother, she was already 70 the first time I met her, and she always would say, I would have been married 40 years now, or 45. And I thought, if he hadn't passed away. But I always thought, what an odd thing to say. I thought, she's still struggling with this grief. I had no idea.
Right.
No idea
Right.
that you will struggle with that grief of your spouse or parent. Even though it's not a daily thing, holidays are the worst.
Right. They certainly are.
Holidays and the anniversary of their death or their birthday are the worst. But we wanted to make it easier for our children. We didn't want them to have to make a lot of decisions. They both know we want to be cremated, and we've talked about, because we love to hike, we love our ashes spread over some mountain ranges. I want the Smoky Mountains.
Right.
And where do you want yours?
And mine was over Mount Lemmon in Arizona. Tucson.
But I told Steve, if I'm still alive, I probably won't be able to get all the way to Tucson at my age. So I said, you need to pick some place closer to where we're living.
Right. So
what is it, Steve?
Well, to me at this point, it doesn't really matter. I'm not going to care.
And I know we live in Georgia now, so even Tennessee is hard for our kids. To even go 4 hours away would probably be a challenge.
So if I was to say Smoky Mountains, I mean...
that's still 4 hours. So we're thinking North Georgia mountains is probably as far as they're going to go, right?
Well, maybe not even that far.
So...
But they have talked to us. I mean, our daughter had talked to us about being on her mantle.
Well, because of that movie, Meet the Parents, that was so bizarre. When that movie came out, I don't remember what year that was. Do you?
Right, and it was in the 90s.
I mean, that was, no one ever talked about death, and the ashes were on the fireplace mantle. We just didn't get that at all. And also at that time, not a lot of people were cremated. Most people were buried at that time.
Right.
Cremation's become so big because of the huge expense of funerals. I don't even know what it is. It was 10,000 years ago. It's probably 15 or 20 now.
Right, and I think people just really get scared of the whole prospect of being buried. Even though you're in a box, eventually that box
I think it's the cost. I think it's the cost for most people.
Yeah, it is. And then also the real estate is disappearing.
Well, I know that growing up, we never visited my grandparents' gravesites. I never ever saw them, didn't know where they were. I guess having 8 kids, it was tough to take us all, and I think it was probably pretty far. I mean, it was the same state, but probably an hour or so away to take 8 kids up to those gravesites. Probably pretty hard. So we never went. And once my parents were buried, well, I couldn't go. It was too emotionally hard for me to go there.
Right. So, we want to be cremated, and we've gone as far as pick our urns.
But we don't want it to be buried.
Right. We don't want it to be buried.
Because we know nobody will come and visit, and
well, it's just also, why take up that real estate? I mean, it's not important to us. I mean, we're not going to realize it.
So, yes, we decided to get urns just to put the ashes in until they are spread.
Right, and so when you're thinking about funerals and you're thinking about death and dying, where do you get urns from?
And also, recently, my sister just a couple weeks ago went to the hospital with severe pneumonia and was close to dying at that time. And that was a real eye-opener for us, since we're all in our 60s, or the youngest one isn't yet almost 60, but we figured, I've been asking Steve for a year to pick out urns because, I don't know, I think it's the responsible thing to do. I mean, we probably should have done it before, but I wanted him to select the urn that was important to him, that meant something to him, and I wanted to not have to make somebody choose an urn for me. What I've heard is that when you get cremated, they put your remains in a bag, unless you buy an urn. Now, we did not want to get a typical common urn because that was a little too morbid for us.
Well, it's too typical.
We didn't want to. That's too much of a reminder to be around our house.
Right.
We wanted to get something that was less obvious and
Mm-hmm.
a little more attractive. So there was,
Right.
not a huge selection.
Oh,
Where did we get them?
we got them, of course, from Amazon. Where else do you get urns from?
And if you didn't get the typical urn, there wasn't a huge selection. When I looked a year ago, I remember seeing a real pretty black one, and I couldn't find it. I couldn't even find anything black. So these are the ones we selected. And brown is not my favorite color, but...
Read that little message on there. That's creepy enough.
If you know me, you know I love butterflies, so I had to get a butterfly. The poem, I wasn't 100% sold on this poem. But, it almost made us laugh because my daughter always says I'm going to haunt them when I'm gone. So, if you couldn't read it, I'll read it. As I sit in heaven and watch you every day, I try and let you know with signs I never went away. I hear you when you're laughing, and I watch you as you sleep. Now that sounds like Santa to me. I even place my arms around you to calm you as you weep. I see you wish the days away, begging to have me home. So I try to send you signs, so you know you're not alone. Don't feel guilty that you have life that was denied to me. Now that's the line I didn't like, because it wasn't denied to me. I lived a life. I've lived a life. I've lived a good life. You have to die some point.
We're going to cross some of this out.
So that one line I didn't really like, but like I said, there was a limited choice. Heaven is truly beautiful, just you wait and see. So live your life, laugh again, enjoy yourself, be free. Then I know with each breath you take, you'll be taking one for me. So it stresses for you to go on, live your life, have fun. And that's what I would want my family to do. I don't want them to be as devastated as I was when my mother passed away. Now, it opens at the bottom. You unscrew these 4 screws. That would be done at the crematory. And then they would give you this box. And then that could sit at home once you dispose of the ash. You could keep the box for remembrance, or you could toss it if you like, just as long as the ashes have been spread at that point.
Or you can keep the ashes in there forever.
You could keep the ashes in there, but I think it's better to get rid of them. Now, we did see some used urns on Amazon, and I was
think
like,
about that.
As much as I like to save money, that kind of creeped us out a little bit too much. I guess the ashes were probably spread, and then they probably sent them back. Not technically, they weren't supposed to be used, but that's what I'm assuming. So here, Steve selected a special one for himself.
Yeah, and mine has a great poem on it. No poem. It has a tree of life, which I thought was apropos for being an urn for a dead person.
It's beautiful,
and it has some,
beautiful
nice carving. It's a nice carving in the box, and it goes all the way. You see around the top and the bottom, there's some etching, and it's real nice. I'm telling you, Amazon, birth to death on Amazon. You can get whatever you need, and it has a screw on the bottom.
Just one screw.
Just
one screw to
on the
unscrew.
bottom. You pull it out, and
mine cost around $40, and what was yours? It was roughly $60, $65. It was $111 for the 2. Mine came right away. Steve's took a while. His was more expensive. It took longer to come. But that's another thing. Say you are, going to have a memorial or something. You don't want to have to wait. It took maybe up to a week or something for his. So you don't want to have to wait when you're already grieving. So you do want to think ahead if,
The only thing is that, when the time comes, you just got to remember where it is in your house.
We even knew a young child who died at 9. That was really sad. She bought the urn on Amazon. It was a butterfly. It was shaped like a butterfly, real beautiful. It didn't look like an urn. I guess she got it probably the next day or something. But you don't want to be grieving and worrying about that detail. Now we think probably we won't even have a memorial because I'm on the younger end of the 8 kids. They will either be elderly or far away, so it'd be difficult for them to travel.
Right, and then you think about it, what's done is done, and you lived your life. You said your goodbyes while you were sick, and that's it, Death should be, in my mind, handled with memories of the great times in life. that you had with whoever passed away. And I strongly believe that you shouldn't grieve.
You will. You will.
I'm sure that you will grieve a little bit.
A lot.
I'm sure you'll grieve a lot for that person. But just understand that, when the time comes, the time comes. You can't really help. You're going to die, and you can't really pick the way you're going to die. At least most people can't. And when it's your time, it's your time. Nothing you can really do about that. So be prepared.
It's a part of life. It's the circle of life. So.
Right, and it might be, some people might watch this and say, God, you're pretty blasé about death. Well, we've seen so many people, so many loved ones pass away, and there's if you just constantly grieve for all of them continuously on an ongoing basis, you're not living your life. Okay, and so you have to sometimes let go.
I was surprised that we're seeing so many people in their 60s pass away. I thought this would be more like 10 years away. But, because we do know a lot of people who are healthy in their 70s and 80s today.
Right.
So I am surprised that so many people are dying now.
Yeah. People are getting cancer younger and younger.
Oh, yeah. That's true. They say now in their 40s, 30s and 40s, and they're pushing down the screenings, and they don't know why. There's article after article about why are these young people getting cancer so young. Right. But, there's nothing wrong with us. We're, as far as we know today.
We're pretty healthy right now.
Our expectancies are, 86 and 83 or something right now. Mm-hmm. But as we planned for... the rest of our life, plan for college, plan for work, plan for our kids, plan for our weddings.
Right, exactly.
It's the circle of life.
Yep, sure is. So consider it. Consider it as, you plan as you get older. Don't
you don't want to burden your children.
No, right. Don't leave that big decision up to your children when it's something that you should take care of as you age.
And Steve's mother lived to 85, but she had paid for her funeral because she worked at a funeral home. So they talked about death in their family, but my family never talked about death, and that just made it that much harder when you don't talk about it. It made you grieve that much more.
Right.
And so with our kids, we've always talked to them, probably because then when we meet the parents, we always talk to them about death and how we want to be cremated, and we'd like to get things in writing so that they know. And if these urns don't work out because we don't die for another 20 years, they have an idea of what we like, and they could get something similar to that in 20 years.
Yeah, we may put them somewhere and never be able to find them.
Or they won't. Never think, where are those urns? Many people look at death as a positive because they know where they're going. They feel they're going to a better place.
Yes. Many people many people when they're passing away feel that they're going to a much better place. That they have, prayed all these years for.
Especially in the Bible Belt in the South.
Yeah.
Most people feel positive about death. As you age, that's something to consider that you might want to make some arrangements. My sister, when she was in the hospital and felt like she was close to death, she did go out and she's planning her. Now, my sister, who was just in the hospital a few weeks ago, she's now planning her final arrangements because it scared her so much. And one of her children will talk to her about it, but the other one refuses to. And, our mother died at 65, and our sister was 65 when she ended up in the hospital. So that kind of flipped her out, too.
We hope that this has been some inspiration. And
it's a difficult topic.
Yeah, it's a difficult topic to discuss.
In our culture, we don't discuss, even though you're going to die. Everybody's going to die.
Well, everything dies. It's a hard topic to cover, but I think that we've talked about it, and maybe if some of you come to grips with it and you get everything planned so that your kids don't have to worry about it, that's just another thing to cross off your list. and go on living and go on enjoying life, the rest of life.
I mean,
enjoy it, have fun.
Along with making your wills, that's another video.
Of course, and that's another video.
Which everybody should do that. People who have children, make your wills so you know.
Anybody.
Well, I'm saying especially people who have young children, make your will so you know who will raise that child if you have a car accident or have an illness.
Yep, and you know, you have your belongings, you know, they have to go somewhere. And so making a will, you know, you don't have to have $1 million and make a will, you know, and you make a will no matter what you have, just so your belongings have a destination.
Well, you don't really, I mean, you don't usually name individual things. I mean, you could just,
no, but I mean,
but we made our will online for free, and
yes, it's free.
So you could do that and just get it notarized, and then you have a will. So that's part of life, planning.
Right. Yep. The end of life, nobody ever wants to talk about, but it's part of life. We're all going to face it one day. So you may as well laugh and smile about it, because it's going to happen. And, you know, if it helps you enjoy your life, then so
And remember, the line I like the most is, so live your life, laugh again, enjoy yourself, be free. Go on. Don't mourn for me like I mourned for my parents.
That's true.
Yeah. Know that we had a good life. We enjoyed life because we made a conscious decision in the last years here to not be bothered by the little petty things in life, right?
Yeah.
Not be bothered.
That's right.
You know, we let people get in front of us in line, in cars. Really, what's the big deal?
Matter.
It doesn't matter.
It did at one time. It did, but it doesn't matter anymore.
I mean, we always catch up to them anyway. They're always stopped at the light down the road.
Right.
So
Yeah.
You know.
Or it doesn't really, it doesn't really matter anymore. You know, we're here, they're here. You know, we're going to enjoy life.
And we hope that you do too. Enjoy life.
Absolutely.
Be nice. Be kind.
Be nice, yeah. Be nice, be kind, be friendly, and just enjoy every day. Because it's a gift. Every day is a gift. This isn't a trial run. This is the real thing.
Until we see you again.
Take it easy.